What's going on, everyone? We are Tottenham TV are back again for another post-match fan show. We have lost 2-0 at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in what was a very damaging result in our hopes of getting top four this season, and third consecutive loss, second consecutive loss at home. First time in 12 years Conte has lost 3 consecutive league games. That just sums Tottenham Hotspur up. A team of first for managers, but not usually in the good sense. I'm joined by Iggy from Tottenham Away. How are you doing, Iggy? Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. It's just a shame we couldn't get the result that we really wanted, but
yeah.
Nonetheless, thank you for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. Look, it was a game where we shot ourselves in the foot, let's be honest. We were our own worst enemy pretty much throughout the game. We huffed and we puffed. We tried to break him down, but at the end of the day, when you give the second best defence in the league a 2-0 head start, what else do you expect than them to have a very good defence? So that's exactly what they did. And I did think, especially in the second half, we tried. I don't think it was a case of us lacking in fight or effort or anything like that. I think it was just a case of lack of quality, rushing things, maybe trying not too hard, but like, you know, sometimes when you try to force things too much, it doesn't quite come off. I think there was a lot of that. And I think at the end of the day, you can't at this level, you can't give a team with as good a defence as a 2-0 head start. I think that's plain and simple. That's the end of the day. You can't do that. When you do that, you can't expect anything other than a loss.
Absolutely, listen. I can't agree with that. I couldn't agree with that analysis that you just did anymore. How many times have we said this today, that we've created our own mess, and that is essentially what's happened today, because we started off well, but then you know, you give 2 goals in the manner that we did, and we keep gifting these sort of type of goals. Individual technical errors is what's costing us right now, because no matter a team effort that you have and make will always be a case. If it comes down to individual errors, what can Conte do about somebody making individual errors? There's not much other than don't play him. Then you don't play him. We don't have anyone else to put in their place that guarantees you that those mistakes are not forthcoming. He made those changes today. He made those changes. He changed. He dropped Højbjerg today. He dropped the 2 new wing backs in. Yeah. He's made those. He's trying different solutions.
I'll say even after half an hour, you know, brings on Kulu to try and change things.
Kulu, Stevie, they've all come on.
And I think at times we were getting in very good positions. I don't think his tactics stifled us in an attacking sense. I really don't. I think a lot of the times we're actually getting in very decent positions for ourselves. We were trying to create things. We actually, if there was a period, I think it was like about 60 on the hour mark to about minute 70. Well, we did open them up about 2 or 3 times, and we just didn't have that clinical edge about us. So we didn't put them to the throat. Either Jose Sá was getting in the way of things, or I thought Kilman, Cody, and Saiss were brilliant in the back three. They were just blocking everything. You know, Kane had a diving header inside the 6-yard box, just blocked off.
They blocked
the
everything.
line.
They literally dealt with any kind of danger that we created.
And but the thing is, those moments, all right, you can miss them, but it's kind of like when it's 0-0 and the game is very tight and you miss a chance like that, it's like, okay, maybe another chance will come. But when you're 2-0 down, it's not as simple as that. You need those to go in. Yeah, they have to go in. And for us, they just didn't. And you have to give Wolves credit for that.
Listen, the defensive statistics speak for themselves. You know, they're really solid. You know what really impressed me today about them was they're very compact. After they got the lead, they were very, very drilled, and that's the one thing that we seem to still not quite have. We always, you know, at one point of the game in the first half, it was so stretched, and you just like, we need to really try and stay into this game. Keep believing that we can get in this game, which is something that I felt that we never truly did believe, that we can get back in the game. And I felt again where it was also compressed in the middle, we needed the outside, we needed the wings, we needed to get in behind, we needed the fullbacks. When we went from a wing back situation to back 4, we didn't do anywhere near enough to try and stretch the game out where we can get on the outside. At any point, I never saw us doubling up on them. We almost kind of left the wingers to do their thing and kind of be in a one-on-one situation with what Sonny tried to do.
Yeah, Davis was very rarely getting
Davis
into
hunted, which is
positions.
why I was very surprised when he was brought off and not Sessegnon. I thought it would come down to one of those two coming off for Kulusevski, but I was surprised when it was him because I thought out of the two, he would be the one be more forthcoming going forward. So that was disappointing on that aspect. And Doherty, and again, even in Emerson when he came on, there wasn't enough width to try and stretch him out and force the errors.
And look, it's obviously, in terms of us last season, it's extremely damaging having 2 home defeats like that against teams where you expect at least. And Southampton, you expect to win, let alone a draw. Against Wolves, look, I think before the game, I'm not saying people saying a draw is a good result, but like a drawing at home to a team as good as Wolves have been defensively, you don't come away from that thinking that's the worst result in the world. But you need at least 4 points out of those 2 games. To get no points at all is really damaging. And with other teams, West Ham winning right now, Arsenal beating Wolves a few days ago and having the weekend off, and for us to get 0 points out of 2 very winnable games, going into another game now against Man City away, which is pretty much a given that we're going to lose. So that could be us pretty much 4 games lost on the trot. And then you go into 2 away games up north, a lot of travelling. 3 games in a row up north with a lot of travelling time. It can be very difficult. And if we don't make up the points in those games, the season could be over by the end of March.
It's a tough month. Listen,
that's how bad it could be.
It's a tough month ahead of us. There's no denying that. The Man City, the expectations right now from every Spurs fan will be 0 from that game. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not too sure, but. Listen, the magnitude of the task is very high going away to it's the away game, isn't it? Man City are away, so very, very tough ask. Listen, these 2 home games, losing. The thing is, what you don't want to do after you lose one game, being at home or away, but particularly when you're at home, is to not follow that up with another defeat. We did that, and that now it kind of puts us under a bit under pressure, and it puts us confidence was draining from us in that last game against Wolves just now. So you never want to follow up a defeat with another defeat. Even a draw would have been better to just nullify that and start again. We've got 2 defeats now, and it's going to
3 defeats in a row between
3 exactly 3 when there was a Brighton game in between.
Fair enough.
But to have those defeats on a bounce and Conte even making any changes, does he continue making those changes and actually add to the confidence? Because by keep on rotating, keep on changing, that can work against you as well as. It's a very tricky time at the moment for the team, for the confidence, and for what Conte's next move will be.
All right, before we start taking callers, I just want to say on Twitter, Bob Spur TV has messaged the channel on Twitter, so I just want to read out his message. It says, Hugo will be called out, and rightly so. However, if it wasn't for him, we would have lost by 4 or 5 today. Lack of quality and ideas and depth is evident. Big love. Big love to you, Bob.
Big love to you, Bob. Big up yourself.
Hope you're getting better, mate, and good to hear from you. And
absolutely.
I think you're absolutely spot on. I think Hugo did make a mistake for the first 2, you've got to say. But if it wasn't for him, it could have been a lot more embarrassing later on with some of the saves he made. So that was positive. But look, can you excuse them 2 mistakes? It was very, very poor. So he's got to watch out for that. But he's had a good season overall, hasn't he?
Yeah. The expectations are so high of Hugo, but... These things can happen, in any players. When you're playing so many games like he does, errors like this can also be a part. And it's because it wasn't forthcoming. We never thought Lewis was playing in that kind of form where he would actually make those errors. But it's part of football. But it's just in addition to the other technical errors that we are making from normally the usual suspects.
All right, let's start talking to some callers. First up, we are going to talk to Will Stewart at THFC Iran. So let's get him on.
How you doing, Will?
Hey, Will, how are we doing today?
Another early morning to wake up to watch Spurs do that again.
You're better off staying in bed, I think, Will.
Probably should have.
Results like today. Look, well, obviously... it's easy to see what went wrong today. We gave them 2 goals early on.
Yeah.
Wolves are a very good defensive side, and we'd struggled to break them down with them sitting on a 2-goal lead. Was it a simple fact of we lost the game in the first 20 minutes, or did you feel like we could have done a lot more in the final hour or so to really force the issue?
I mean, we had plenty of time to do a whole lot more, right? So, I mean, yes,
But
that is.
do we
true
use that time
factor.
well? Yeah.
I thought we gave it a go. I think Conte recognized his errors pretty early and tried to fix those. Hopefully, he uses his opportunity to maybe rethink this 3-4-3 thing. To be honest with you, I think the 3-5-2 it fits the players that we have a whole lot better than because it's working up. We just don't have. Look, like all the people out in the comments too, who are all this Conte out thing. I mean, that's just ridiculous. First of all,
Whoever said that, yeah, bloody hell.
Yeah, well, there's probably about 50 of them in the comments.
I agree with you, Will. I've already seen them in the chats a few times, even during the game. A lot of hashtags Conte out, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean that's look, if we haven't have we as fans not learned anything over the last 5 managers that we've had that the issue obviously isn't a manager thing. Look, any time that we get a manager in and we give him a few months to try to implement his style of play and his mentality into the team, and then we just turn on him as a fan base, I think that's wrong. That's why for me it's been down to the players. And if you look at it again today, it was the remnant of Poch's B squad who let us down once again. And it's obvious that Conte wasn't back properly in the summer or in the January transfer window. We didn't do good enough in the summer. We didn't do good enough in January. But the two people that we did, I thought Bentancur and Kulusevski had a decent match. I think the only thing that, if I were to say Conte, he's got to stop playing this 3-4-3. It just doesn't work for us. It hasn't worked for us. In fact, most of our biggest wins have come from a 3-5-2 system. So I don't understand why he's trying to force this 3-4-3 in. He obviously has a reason that he's trying to do it. He realized early on that wasn't working, so he switched to the forward back. Mistake number 2 was substituting Davies or Sessegnon instead of Davies. Yeah. So I agree with Iggy there. That was mistake number 2. Other than that, look, we gave it a fighting go. I think Kulusevski looks at least as good as any of the players that went out on loan or left the club in the January transfer window in that number 10 spot. If anything, I would have said that, I don't know. I would have liked to see a 3-5-2 with him starting in there. But until Skip comes back, we're stuck with Harry Winks. We're stuck with Højbjerg. We're stuck with Davies. We're stuck with Emerson and Doherty. We're stuck with these players.
What is the biggest problem for you when it comes to 3-4-3? Why don't you think it works?
Because we don't have the fullbacks, right? So we don't have players in those wide spaces. I mean, Reguilón is our best option, and even he. I mean, I don't think Reguilón's absolutely been that bad.
Wait, no. One sec, Will. If you say we don't have the fullbacks, if we go to 3-5-2, does that not put more pressure on them? Because it leaves them more isolated out wide because there's more focus in the centre.
No, because then you can start playing through the middle, right? So you can have creative players. You can play one deep-lying playmaker with 2 more attacking-minded midfielders who can build up and be creative from the midfield. So you're not reliant on creating from the wings, right? So in a 3-4-3, you're reliant upon those fullbacks to create opportunities for your front 3, which they can't do, right? So in a 3-5-2, you have an extra midfielder there who you can play more compact.
And the supply comes from the midfield, right?
You can build for the midfield rather than, because our midfielders are far more talented at creating than our 2 fullbacks are, right? So
I would have said yes, potentially before our January business. Now, because we got rid of Ndombele and Lo Celso, who, whatever people think of them, and fair, every opinion's fair. I do think they have quality about them, and with them gone, our best qualities now for me in attacking series is in the wingers in Son, Lucas, Kulu, and Bergwijn. So if you only play 2 of them it leaves a lot of options. Like, you know, if you're only playing 2 of those players, you're leaving a lot of quality on the bench when maybe they should be starting. No.
No, I mean, what I'm saying is I would play them in the midfield.
I see. You'd play Lucas or Kulu a bit more central.
Right. So you'd have in basically a 3-1-4-2, right? With Bentancur sitting in that holding mid spot, Kulusevski on the left, Moore on the right, Son and Kane up top. Or you can put Stevie Bergwijn in there if you need more defensive cover, or you can bring in a Skip if you need more, depending on what team you play. There's a lot of options that you can roll around in that 3-5-2 that we don't necessarily have in the 3-4-3. If you're playing the 3-4-3, you're kind of limited. It's either Moore on the right or Kulusevski on the right. You know, obviously Son, Kane, and then who are you playing in the midfield? You have Bentancur with the other options are Skip, Winks, and Højbjerg. That's it. But if you're playing in a 3-5-2, and you're having one holding midfielder who's a little bit more of a deep lying playmaker, then you have the option to move that around. You can be defensive, or you can be more attacking, and you can load that front 4 with more attacking players or more defensive players, depending on the opponent that you're playing. I see the 3-5-2 giving us more options, not less.
Yeah, I think I completely get what you're saying, Will. I think with a 3-4-3, because we've got 2 defensive midfielders, and let's be honest, our midfielders are not goal-scoring midfielders.
No,
so if you look at it from opponent's point of view, they're very easy to now Spurs, because all you have to do is cut out the supply to Son and Kane, and the only supply that's forthcoming are from your wing backs. If they're not playing well, or you manage to block them, which is something that's been quite easy to do if you look at it from an opponent's point of view, you cut that supply to Son and Kane, you've cut out the supply for Spurs scoring goals. So we need. You're right. I agree with what you're saying. Is we need to show a little bit more. Show a few more options, and maybe by doing what you just said, what you're maybe advising even Conte to try and offer something different, to maybe show that you're coming from different parts of the pitch, not just the wings.
When it's the exact same tactics that he played with Inter, right? So he had, you know, starts with a B, has a C in the end.
Barbarella.
But he played with a 3-5-2 with a hard-working midfield. They had Martinez and Lukaku.
And Lukaku sitting up front, and then they had 2 more dynamic midfielders sitting behind them.
Brozovic
in midfield, Barella, and I think afterwards Eriksen came into it as well.
Right, yeah. And then they had the deep-lying playmaker sitting in the hole, right in front of the back 3. So that's the exact, Brozovic. So that's what I'm saying. Bentancur can be that Brozovic type player, right? Who's the deep-lying playmaker into that 3. You have 2 more dynamic midfielders who have to work a little bit, but Lucas Moura likes to work. Stevie Bergwijn can work. Even Son can work. So I mean, you could even have Son on the left side, Kulusevski on the right, Bentancur in the hole. There's so many options that you could rotate that inner triangle along with the top 2, with the players that we have available to us now. That the 3-4-3 just doesn't give us. We're stuck in the 3-4-3. It's so predictable in the 3-4-3. Whereas in that 3-5-2, you have so many different combinations that you could work together in order to mold the system to your opponent. I just don't understand why. He's dead set on this, like, you know, second-year Chelsea 3-4-3 system. That just isn't working. It's not working. So he has to adapt, and he has multiple tools. It's not like he's over his career has been stuck on a 3-4-3 and he's just kind of, you know, got the blinders on and he's narrow-minded and that's the only thing he does. He operates multiple different tactical systems within that 3 in the back system. So I just don't understand what he's seeing that we're not, as fans and pundits, and you know, both of you guys know that as content creators, we're always watching and researching and doing those things. So we're always looking into it. There's got to be something that he's saying on the training pitch that we are not seeing, and I just don't know what it is. I'd like to know.
You know, against Chelsea, we played 4 at the back. Today, after half an hour, he brought on Kulu, took off Davis, and we reverted to a back 4. Kind of played a bit of a 4-2-3-1. Kulu a bit more central, trying to play some through balls and stuff like that. Is that 4 at the back something you'd like him to use a bit more often, or do you think, because he's known for his three at the back, he kind of has to stick with that if that's the tactic he knows best?
I think he can play a 4-2-3-1. I don't think we have the defenders to play a 4-2-3-1. Having only two defenders in the back, then we're stuck with playing with Davies at left back because he'd be more defensive and cover more. I mean, I just can't. I mean, that was the whole problem. I think if you would have seen Reguilon or Sessegnon in that left-hand side pushing forward up the pitch more, we would have put a little bit more pressure on there. But the problem is that leaves Sanchez exposed at the back with Romero. I mean, Romero hasn't been a problem. And I mean, does that mean that we have to wait until, I can't believe what I'm about to say, but does that mean we have to wait until Dyer comes back before we can see any positive performances? I mean, Dyer's been really good for us this season. Fair play to him for that. I mean, last season, maybe under Jose, I was pretty critical on him, and rightly so. But this year, even under Nuno, Dyer's been, somewhat reliable. So both times he's gone injured, we've gone on a losing streak. So
yeah, it's true.
I think with Dyer, I think the managers see leadership qualities in Dyer. We don't know him personally.
No, he's definitely the best leader at the back.
Yeah,
isn't he?
he can see his communication, which is something that was clearly missing today. It was so evident that with the communication part. I don't think that's Romero's strongest point. However, what Romero has is clear qualities. He's playing in a very fragile defensive unit, and he's still managed to keep his own. So that definitely has to change. But maybe, like you said, maybe regarding the changes in the tactics, perhaps after these two defeats, Conte's hands have been forced now to try something different, particularly with the upcoming game away to Man City.
Yeah, I mean, I just look. We can't be blaming Conte for this. We can't. This is the thing that really bothers me about the fan base is that. Things start to go a little bit shaky, and instead of trusting the manager, right, we just automatically boom, ow, 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 hashtag ow, 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 ow. Why are we doing this? We've gone through easily probably top 3 managers in the world in as far as recent success, and we're sitting here as fans saying he's the problem, not Davies, not Winks, not the players that we've all had problems with over the last 3 seasons. No. These players, the ones that are remaining, the ones that caused us issues today, Ben Davies was horrible today, are the ones that have gotten the last 4 managers sacked. Yeah. Or 3. I guess what's his name wasn't sacked. Mason wasn't sacked, but.
It's funny you say that, Will. Talking about fans, Conte's had a quote on his press conference. He says, "Our fans need to understand that you need to have patience to build again a situation that they were used to in the past. We are working hard with the players we have. There's a great commitment, but sometimes commitment is not enough. If you want to be competitive, you have to build." And do you think that's a message to some of the fans who maybe booed the team off today and booed at halftime as well?
100%. And look, if it would have been me, like booing some of the players, maybe, but then I would have sung a Conte song, right? Because to let him know, hey, we're booing the performance, but we're not booing you, right? That's what I would have done. But look, I even said this under Nuno. Like everybody, I get a lot of stick now. Oh, you bigged up Nuno, and it wasn't about me necessarily thinking that Nuno was some great manager. I always said he was just going to be a stopgap. It was about me holding to my principle. If it's this are the problems that we're facing, because then even though in the 3 or 4 matches that we lost under Nuno, it was all these kind of silly errors, right? It was all along these types of performances. Yeah, we weren't as attacking as we probably should be, but Nuno's not an attacking manager, so it's like you expect attacking football out of a guy who's not attacking. But it wasn't about that. It was about supporting the fact that it's the players, right? We got to get the deadwood out and bring in new players. And we did a decent job of getting people out in January, but there's more work that needs to be done. So I'm not going to be critical of managers, overly critical. Like I can call a spade, and when they make mistakes, like I think this 3-4-3 thing's not working, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I think that substituting Sessegnon over Davies was a mistake. But other than being calm and level-headed and criticizing fairly, I'm not going to go in on a manager until all of these problem players are gone. Right? I'm just not going to do it because
Fair
these
enough.
players have been the issue for 3 years.
You talk about leadership. without Dyer, yes, last game against Southampton, the last 20 minutes, when you really need someone to organise the back line and batten down the hatches and make sure we see out the game. We had players free at the back post and we have players not marking their men, and that cost us. And then you look at today, 2 goals, which you could arguably say, obviously, they're not carbon copy, but 2 goals where there are shots just raining in on us on the goal, and there's no one in the box reacting. There's no one on their toes ready to react to. There's no one on their toes ready to react to the shots coming in and everything. There's Wolves players just getting there first. The first goal, they get 3 shots unresponded to. No one's responding to. The second goal, I know it's quick, but the ball rebounds off Sanchez and Bentancur, and Sanchez is lying on the ground watching the ball hit the post instead of getting up and being ready to react to it hitting the post. He thinks it's going in, so he's just lying there waiting for it to go in, and then he realises, it hits the post, and then he gets up to react, but by then it's too late. Then Donker's already on his bike. Is that where leadership comes in, with these kind of things?
100%, right? So, look, I like to look at players too, not only when they're playing, but with how they're directing the game. And when Dyer's not there, just like when Bentancur came on for the first or second time when he got to the club, one of the reasons why I thought that he would be a good player to start was because he was immediately pointing directions, calling, quarterbacking that midfield, pass it here, play here, doing this, doing that. And you have Dyer always is doing that type of stuff. And you don't see that when he's not there. It's almost like they have their hands in their pockets. They're doing what they're supposed to do. It's kind of like, how classroom kids act when the teacher's out of the room, right? When the teacher walks out of the room, they just do whatever they want to do, whatever they think. They may not necessarily be completely belligerent, but they do. When the teacher comes in, there's focus, there's attention. So Dyer's just kind of that. He has that leadership force in that back line, and that's what I think is horribly missed. I don't know why he's continually to be injured. It's like he's back, but he's not back. He's okay, but he's not okay. Look, we just need him back in the squad. We need to upgrade Ben Davies in that left back spot or left center back spot. We need a new right wing back. Those 3 positions right now, and then some more positions too to help upgrade in other spots. But look, our squad size has gone down. I can't even create two 11s out of our squad right now.
Yeah.
So we got to deal with what we got to deal with, but we got to be patient with Antonio Conte. We can't just start going into this narrative of it's the manager's fault, and I know that because I think that it's, and I would say it's boring and easy to blame the manager when things go wrong like this, and other people say it's easy to blame the players. The only difference is if these players have been performing like this for 3 years, the manager's been doing it for 2 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where's the blame logically, right? If we're going to be...
Sorry, Will, my perception of this, because I was at the game versus Southampton, I don't get the feeling that the Conte outs, if you like, it's not coming from the fans at the stadium watching the game. There was boos at half-time, I heard that, but I think that was more aimed at the performance rather than what you just said, rather than the manager. So I'm not sensing that whenever I've gone to watch the game. What I am sensing it is from the guys on social medias that or they use that platform to hashtag whatever they feel on the moment. They're just acting on pure emotion. The game's just finished, go straight on social media and say, right, here's the problem, he's got to go. But you're right, and Conte has always been consistent in saying that we need to have patience. The build is going to be a slow build, and of course, questions will be asked with the money and the spending, and we know the rest of that. That needs to be forthcoming come the summer. But the build is going to be a slow one. We brought in a couple of players in. We shipped 4 out for the time being, at least not all of them, but on a permanent basis. But we have shipped them out, so there is movement. Just we still need to address, like you just said, the players in the areas that we desperately require them in, if we're going to play this contest system.
Yeah, and I would say, look, if the fans are aching for somebody to point the blame at, it needs to be going straight up to Paratici and Daniel Levy. I did a show on my channel not too long ago about players on a free this summer that cost less than 20 mil that nobody picked up after the transfer window. I mean, like you have Kempf out of the Bundesliga. Yeah, I mean, you had Kempf out of the Bundesliga, who's a left-sided center back, 26, 27 years old, out is far better statistically than Ben Davies, anything, and he was like €7 million, and he's out of contract this summer. So why couldn't you go pick him up? I mean, we're talking about Ben Davies. You don't want to buy players. It's not hard to improve on Ben Davies. It's not, right? So going out and getting anybody who's over the age of 25, right? Like I can understand maybe it would be a little bit of a risk to sign a player who's 22, 23 years old to replace Ben Davies. But anybody who's been playing consistently for a number of years professionally, who you can go back and you can watch history. In the Bundesliga, I think players, tend to mesh into the Premier League a lot faster, especially defenders coming out of the Bundesliga than I do any other league. So I don't think a player like that is that big of a risk. €7 million on a free in the summer. I mean, we spent more than that on Joe Rodon, and he's not even playing. So I don't understand. If we as fans want to point fingers at somebody, let's point fingers at the people whose job it is. Oh, it's hard in January. How's it hard to go get somebody who's leaving in 6 months on a free? You throw money at their club, and they're going to beg you.
There are plenty of opportunities and players out there right now that can be not even less than 20 million. We're talking about zero. They're on a free. I mean, the obvious ones are the Barlas and stuff like that. But there are many players, like you just said, you can pick up. You're relying on a real scouting network. You really need to invest in a scouting network that can go and pick up those sort of players and bring them in, and use Conte's pulling power to bring them in as well. So there are opportunities. Just we need to act quickly before everybody else wakes up and sees, and then we have in a situation where they can choose which clubs to go to. You need to get in there early, close the deal, and bring them to Spurs.
Yeah, I just, and for me, that's, if we want to blame people, I think that's where our blame should go, right? So players are the players. They are who they are. We know who they are, right? So it's a little bit, you're kind of kicking a dead horse to be, just pounding the same drum on the players over and over and over again. I'm guilty. I'll raise my own hand. But where the blame really lies is on the front office, right? That's a baseball term, but upstairs, that's really where the blame lies, right? Is in Daniel Levy, Paratici, and the scouting network for the club that Steve Hitchen ran. Steve's gone, but hey, that's where I think the blame lies. It doesn't need to be a Conte. Yes, we can say, yeah, he needs to stop playing the 3-4-3. Yeah, he probably should have substituted Davies rather than Sessegnon. Yeah, but other than that, I saw some good performances. Bentancur again put in a shift today. Yeah, was he perfect? No. Did he slip a couple of times? Yeah. But overall, I thought his performance was really good. Kulusevski playing in the midfield, I thought looked far better than he did playing on the wing.
He's got lovely touches. He's got that left foot is majestic. He's got real, and he always tried to feed the ball through the needle, and he's really quality at that. Bentancur did as well as he could, but he was playing along some really poor wings today. When you have someone next to you playing as bad as he is, and he's meant to be guiding you in your new team, it's a tough ask. It's a tough ask.
I mean, that's because on Wednesday, right, you had options. You had Winks who played poorly and Højbjerg who played even worse, right? So I mean, it's you don't really have an option right now who plays in there alongside, unless you just pull them out altogether and you play, like I thought maybe bringing on Stevie B and having him play out on the right hand side, and have Lucas Moura fall into the midfield and play that number 10, and have Kulusevski drop a little bit deeper as more of an 8. I mean, that could have been an option. Yep. But I mean, that would have been the only option that you had in order to try to fix the Winks issue. Because if you have Højbjerg, who's not really playing well, and didn't even play did he come on in the second half?
No, he didn't.
No, not at all.
No, okay.
Do you know what? It just goes to show how important Oliver Skip has become to the field, It's huge. Who would have thought that a few seasons ago? But here he is now. Right now, he is the future moving forward with Bentancur, 100%.
I mean, last season too. At the end of last season, we were all like pining over him coming back because the midfield was so poor, right? Højbjerg and Winks. It's not like this is the first time that these guys have gone missing for months on end, right? It happened at the end of last season, and we were all looking at Winks at Norwich or Skip at Norwich and being like, let's bring him back. Let's bring.
I think in Højbjerg's defence, yes, I agree that he's been in a poor run of form, but he's played a lot of games. He's played a lot of minutes, and this game, who knows? Maybe him being out this game would help him to try and regain a little bit more energy that we will for sure need against the very, very informed Manchester City.
All right.
Yeah, but
sorry, Will, we have been going on a while, but I appreciate you calling in. We do have other guests to bring on, but Will, it's good to see you as always, mate.
Nice one, Will.
All right, guys, stay strong, stay Spurs.
And go to subscribe to THFC Rants, people. We want to see more Will Stewart. Love you guys. Cheers, Will.
Take care, mate.
Bye-bye.
Some interesting stuff Conte's had to say as well in his press conference. He was asked why he's not picking Joe Rodon at the moment. And he said, maybe I'm making a mistake to pick other players, maybe, but my evaluation is to try and put the best players on the pitch. And that's my evaluation at the moment. But maybe it's a mistake. Interesting. He's saying that on Joe Rodon. Maybe he's making a mistake because I'm guessing he's looking at the players playing instead of Joe Rodon, and he's not pretty happy with what he's seeing, is he?
Well, when you've seen the performances of our defenders in the last two games, particularly Davis and Sanchez, if you're Joe Rodon sitting on a bench watching what's in front of you, you're thinking, well, surely I'm due a chance. Maybe not. If you're not going to play me from the start, at least put me on as a substitute or something, not to get 0 minutes. The guys in front of him are not making a good case for themselves. So maybe Joe Rodon, until at least Dyer comes back, has got to be an option, surely.
You think at least pick him once, or especially when you're he's dropped or rested Emerson and Reguilon. So why not give Sanchez or Davis a rest?
Romero where Sanchez is and put Joe Rodon in the middle of the three for sure. That's a good shot, but there must be something. I have to think there's something going on behind the scenes.
He doesn't think he's as good as the other players. That's what I can think of.
There's got to be something.
If you're keeping up to date with the Premier League scores at the moment, it's currently Leicester 1, West Ham 1 at half time. So that's a decent result for us. Let me just get through some super chats before we bring on the next caller. Eugene Park says, how do you not score any with Kane and Son? Is Conte using them right? I think it wasn't a case. Look, we created loads of chances. It wasn't a case of we weren't getting Kane and Son involved. They were very much involved in that game, and it wasn't down to Conte why they weren't, why we didn't score. It was just you have to take responsibility for that because they got in the positions, and I think Wolves as well defended brilliantly.
They nullified Kane to very, very minimal stuff. They had a couple at the header. The Son had a ball in the box where the keeper stuck his foot out. There were situations there, even a couple on the one-on-ones. But yeah, you're right. The Wolves' defence kept us very much at bay. They were very united. They were never, at any point of the match, I didn't feel that they were disjointed or kind of a spread or in a way that to allow us in, unless Kulusevski's passing and put him in a little bit of difficulty, but nothing that they could deal with. And then they got the keeper Sarr, kind of just any little things that he had to make got involved in. He dealt with him accordingly. So, listen. Yes, from our point of view, it wasn't brilliant, but you got to also credit to the opponents. They did really well.
They did. Ardavan Hamisi says, since 2019, how many times have we turned around a poor run of form without the manager getting sacked? Once before and after lockdown with Jose, maybe. Since 2019, how many times have we turned around a poor run of form without the manager getting sacked? He's asking how many times we've been on a poor run of form and only gone out of it by sacking. I'm sure we have done. I'm sure Jose went through bad runs and then.
Bad runs are part of football. So,
yeah, I don't think we always end a bad run by sacking a manager, do we?
No.
I mean, this is bad. Look, this is 3 defeats in a row. I'm not saying it's not bad, but
great.
Come on, not that bad yet.
No.
Shem Tan says, how is it we get rid of Lo Celso and Ndombele, Ali and Gil, and we look worse?
Well, Well, we missed.
I mean, we might look worse, but it's not got nothing to do with them because we looked worse defensively. Like against Southampton and Wolves, we created enough chances. Let's be honest. It was at the back where we're awful. Detrix Kane says, so will it be Emerson's fault today? See you tonight. He's maybe one who doesn't get all the Emerson criticism. Eugene Park says, Son doesn't fit into the system. I think we need to sell him.
Oh, that's just a ridiculous comment. Sorry,
No,
I'm not having any Son
we ain't
selling comments. I'm sorry, but this is just...
No chance. Daniel Carras says every single manager is the same. Davis Winks and all the dead would have a new manager aura, and after time they come to their nature, which is mediocre. Hard to, it's happened before, so it's hard to disagree. And Ollie says, I wonder how people try to blame Højbjerg today.
I don't think. Listen, Højbjerg is just in a little poor run of form. But that somebody that's in a poor run of form doesn't mean that he's not respected as a player anymore. It just needs a game like today, maybe just to sit out and just regain a little bit of he's played so many minutes and he just needs to refine himself a little bit, but that doesn't mean that he's not a player, that he's no longer part of the team or anything like that. It's just in a poor run of form, and the minutes that he's accumulated, which is probably way above anyone else in the squad, I believe. Certainly, if he's not the first, he's thereabouts. He just needs a rest. He's just a bit spent. But dropping him doesn't mean he's been dropped. It means it could be.
You can't use your squad. Every good team worth their salt doesn't play every player every minute of every game.
We need to create a situation in our midfield where we can rest one or two players every now and again when they've been burnt out. And we're not in a position to do. We need to get used to that as part of football these days.
And quickly, before we move on to the next guest, Bruno Lage has been talking on his press conference, and he said he was asked about the tactical switch up to compete against Tottenham today. He said they often play with just two midfielders, so we tried to add more men in that area. They then changed it to put one more man to press Ruben Neves. And after that, we adjusted. So it was hard to control the game with the ball, but we controlled the game without the ball. That was what Bruno Lage was saying, which is interesting. So, yeah, that's what he's got to say. Let's bring on the next guest. Let's get Wes the King on. Evening, Wes. How are we doing?
I'm all right. Same old with this team. Right now, I hate this team at the moment. I hate this team a lot right now. They just keep on disappointments after more disappointments, and the same thing over and over and over again. It's like the definition of insanity.
How long you been a Spurs fan for, Wes?
I've been a Spurs fan since that Champions League final.
So you're very new to disappointment. Trust me, in relative terms.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I already knew. I knew what I was getting into. It's just that I like the history and everything of the club. So I just chose Tottenham is pretty much me right now. So that's what it is for me. Let's just talk about this crazy behind game. The reason I answered that question of why Son and Kane didn't score, or why we probably not making as much chances as we should with the talent we have up front. It all has to do with the back line. It all has to do with the back line. If your back line can't pass out the back, you can't create offense. You just can't. I play center back. You have to have a good You have to have a good options for center back to be able to pass out. You just have to.
It's what Dyer offers, isn't it?
It's clear as day to day. Yeah, it's clear as day why we're missing Dyer so much. Exactly. Sanchez he can't do it. He can't do it at all. He can barely control the ball, which is surprising for him to be. He got to this level, and it looks like he completely forgot everything he learned from academy, previous clubs, everything. It's like he's just completely brainless out there. He can barely do a touch. He struggles with passing. Sometimes he doesn't even take the ball. Like there was times when Winks were passing the ball, he'll let it go right past him. Like and that will mess up Doherty, and because Doherty is making a run because he's thinking he's going to take the touch, and that ends up messing up his flow. And then he has to do a stupid pass out, like lob over the head kind of pass on Doherty every time Sanchez does that. Sanchez, he doesn't have no awareness, has no IQ on what he's supposed to do in that situation. He's arguing at Winks like that was supposed like he did a bad pass, and I don't think really most of Winks' back passes are it's very basic passes that he can control. It's just he's horrible. I think the coach, I think Conte is realizing that he may have to try out Rodon. He may really have to try out Rodon instead of saying maybe.
That's what he's hinting at, isn't he?
Davis was that bad. Yeah, I don't think Davis was that bad, to be honest with you. He didn't get better playing left back. That was clear. He's way better at left center back in the back three. But I think you gotta try something new. We gotta get Sanchez. When you see the passing out the back, we have to have you have to have that creation. You have to start start the run, to start the drive, to get to our front line, to get to those players that can actually do some danger. And I think once we, I don't agree. We should have substituted Davies for Kulu. We should never did that to Session. So now that's going to mess up him mentally. Hopefully Conte reassures him that, hey, that was a tactical decision. I think it was just tactical. To me, Session didn't do anything bad. He barely started, to be honest, because he got subbed out in like 20 minutes, and it looked like he was going to probably be dangerous. He's really spreading out that width for us. And, I think he was doing better than Doherty at least in those first couple minutes, but, that's kind of bad on Session. Hopefully Conte handles that correctly, because, that's going to do mentally, that's going to mess him up a little bit to me. You could tell by the way he was walking around. Luckily, the fans were clapping for him, telling him, hey, it was a tactical decision. It was just a tactical decision. But I think that was one mistake by Conte. But I think once we changed to back four, to me it looked like a 4-3-3 with Kulu being the attacking midfielder. Yeah. We looked at a lot better. Kulusevski as an attacking midfielder, like I said, I think I said when we first came to the club, him playing, because that's his preferred position. He said that in Juventus or when he was playing for Atalanta. He was saying that, hey, my favorite position is attacking midfielder. He said he feels like he can.
He played for Parma, not Atalanta, before he moved to Juventus.
Yeah, is he? Oh, is Wes gone? Sam, is he gone? Was he gone? I think he might have crashed.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that, Wes. We'll try and get you back on in a sec. Is there any? Oh, he's back. Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Let's get him back on then.
Oh my God.
Hey, Wes.
I want to let you know I hate this. I hate this app so much. I hate this app so much. I struggle getting on here, guys. I really do. I try to get on here a lot, and I struggle to get on here. So I'm trying to keep connection by staying in a certain place, because I guess I'm in a rural area over here in the States. So it is what it is. But I was saying that Kulusevski, the through passes he was doing, is what we need. We really like.
You're right. Oh, is he gone again? Oh, okay. Sorry about that, Wes. I think you've gone again. Oh, he's back again. Oh, is he gone? He's gone again. Oh, I think we're just gonna have to move on. I think we'll try getting a bit later. Is there another caller waiting?
Listen, he made some valid points about playing from the back. Sanchez just lacks the composure at the moment.
We've known that for a while, haven't we?
It's just lacks of ideas. It's almost like there's no clarity in his head as to what he wants to do.
We'll try one more time. Let's get Wes back on.
Hey, Wes.
Hey.
Man, I hate this app. Oh man, I love you guys though. Cheers, man. I just like Kulusevski. I think that's his. We have to. I think if this doesn't show, we need to play 3-5-2. I don't know what does. Or at least a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. One of those three formations we need to just stick to probably. And I think a 3-5-2 is probably what he's going to probably end up using more now, especially now that he got Kulusevski. But we haven't had a passer who do through balls like that since, I say, Ericsson. I think, everybody thought Lo Celso was going to probably be that guy.
He just gives us a bit more quality, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just, but, Lo Celso, he was on loan for Argentina. That's pretty much, that's his whole thing. But it's the truth.
All right.
But I think he really showed that he can really start. We can create a whole lot more chances with him at that attacking midfielder role.
Okay. Where's the connections keeps breaking up, so we're gonna have to let you go.
Yeah,
But it was good chatting to you.
Thanks,
as always,
Wes.
man. I'm looking forward to speaking to you soon.
That's fine. Yep, I'll see you guys.
Cheers, Wes. All right, that was Wes. Let's get on the man, the myth, the legend, Carl Patrick Vineyard. Let's get him on. Carl!
Yo,
How are you doing,
up?
my friend?
I'm good, my friend. Just still a bit pissed off from Wednesday and today. Wednesday, yeah, I'm still pissed off. Not good.
What went wrong today, Carl? What happened?
Like, I don't know, man. Like, not good. No passion, no fight, no mentality. Like, what is going on? Like, Dyer and Skip are important because they're probably doing better. They've been defending better. Like, I don't know why they're still been out, but like, I think Conte did mention that he expects Dyer to play against City on Saturday. Like, yeah, Dyer's been playing quite well, but I don't know why we're not defending brilliant. Like, Højbjerg was poor on Wednesday and he was today, but like, why are we not defending properly? I don't know what's going on, but yeah, as you probably knew, Trippier scored another free kick for Newcastle, so that's now 4 free kicks he scored. 1 for England, 1 for Tottenham, 2 for Newcastle. Trippier is probably in the form of his life at the moment, but I don't know what's going on with us. What is going on?
Yeah. What could he have done different, do you think, Conte, today to get the result?
Maybe he could have died like maybe Kulusevski with Bentancur, because maybe that'll be a great partnership. If, like, I think if we do qualify for Champions League, maybe we'll get Kulusevski permanently. Like, yeah, why can't we get him permanently? Because he's been doing quite well the past 2 games coming on and doing well. So maybe Kulusevski should have started, but went with Bentancur starting, so that's pretty good. Like, I did see his tweet and on Instagram as well. Like, not the result we wanted, but we will do what we can to fight back and come back stronger. Like, which is good, but I don't know what's going on with us. But we need new defenders. Like, I don't know, is there any right wing backs up there we can sign? Like, maybe the guy from Middlesbrough's on loan in Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Spence?
Yeah, that's
like,
right, Spence.
Yeah, Spence. He done. I think he scored against Leicester, didn't he, in the FA Cup? He's brilliant. Like, Nottingham Forest, they knocked Arsenal and Leicester out. So, yeah.
The thing is, Kyle, sorry to interrupt. The thing is, the players to recruit, we're going to have to wait to the summer. So we're going to have to move forward into this in the season with the players that we currently have. So, do you feel that Conte has tried different situations, different players for sure? We saw 3 changes be made from the Wednesday game. So, and then obviously he made the change with Kulusevski coming on early on. So you can see that he's still trying to. He acted really early today when he saw that it wasn't working. So, but Kulusevski is a player that obviously played very little football in the last few months with Juventus. So we are trying to find his best condition, first and foremost fitness, to bring up his fitness levels where he can actually come in and make the impact that we all wish for him to have in a fast league that is the Premier League. Bentancur doesn't need that because he's ready to play right now. But in regards to today, what would you have liked to seen different that wasn't perhaps done by Conte?
Maybe I would have liked to see. Maybe I don't know. What to say. Maybe proper. I don't know what to say. Like defending from Doherty. I know people don't like Doherty. I know it hasn't worked out since we signed him from Wolves last season. Like, hasn't worked out. But yeah, like maybe Doherty just needs a bit of time to, yeah, I don't know if it's done properly. But yeah, Stephen Young, I thought he did quite good. But yeah, like we've got City or probably no one's gonna cat and beat City, no one can beat them. But City are tough, but like bear in mind we have taken points off them at the Etihad. That was when what I think 2019 in August, right, Tim?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I think Lamella and Lucas Moore, when Lucas came off the bench, he just headed it straight in. So, like, can we see Bergwijn Part 3 in Manchester again? Like,
Yeah,
three or
maybe.
part, yeah, like Bergwijn done against City and United in the season we bought him. So, why not? Bergwijn, can you repeat what he done against Leicester, which I'm still buzzing from? I still
Mm.
gonna get. I nearly had a heart attack then, but yeah, like I'm still quite annoyed that the ref David Cruz gave Bergwijn offside. But what is going on? Like,
Can we still get top 4, Kyle? Yes or no?
well, I don't care what anyone says, but I'm gonna say yes we can. But I know Arsenal fans are laughing as we've lost 2 games in a row, but they still have to play Man United and they still have to play Wolves again.
Chelsea.
So
Exactly.
yeah, but we need like they have to play West Ham as well. I think what they're away at West Ham or Arsenal, they're
Yeah.
away or at home.
Yeah, they're away to West Ham. Yeah.
So like I hope West Ham. I know we probably don't want any of them to, but I just think I want West Ham to win at least. So like yeah, I just hope West Ham can beat them. Then that would be nice. But yeah, and we can still get top 4, and we're still in the FA Cup. So let's just win that, and then yeah, we can look forward to the World Cup this year as well, which I'm excited about.
All right, Carl. Always good to speak to you, mate.
Thanks
Good
very
to
much,
see you.
Carl.
No worries.
And we'll
I'll
speak to you in a bit, mate.
Yeah, all right, mate. Bye.
All right, that's Carl Patrick Vineyard. Big up to Kyle. All right, is that no? There's no one else. Anyone else want to call in the background? We have been going. One sec. At the moment, I'm just watching the Leicester versus West Ham game. It's still 1-1, but Leicester just so close to scoring the second goal. It's also some very interesting comments from Antonio Conte today in his press conference, talking about winning mentality. And he said, it's not something you can buy or you can build overnight. It's something it takes a long time to instill. And he said, winning mentality is about, I am ready to kill you, but I'll let you live. That's what he said.
It's not, wow, you know what? Those comments can be interpreted in so many different ways. I don't know. I'll be worried if I looked at it I'll be worried as a player reading those comments. So, listen, he keeps using those words. Patience. It's slow. It's going to be a slow process. There's no 2 ways about that. He's not happy. He's not happy with the way things. There's no way about it. This is not the team that he wants moving forward. So, unfortunately, it's just one of those ones. Until Leicester just gone 2-1 up.
Oh, Leicester have scored.
Leicester have just scored when it looked like West Ham. Sorry. So, do you see what I mean? All the results around us. But until we start, do our own thing and start getting our own results, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter what happens around us because, it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
When we haven't got our own job done, doesn't really get different.
Exactly.
We do have another caller in the background. I'm sure he's got a lot of stuff to say. Let's bring
Never.
on. No, he's
Never.
not a man of few words.
Man of few words.
Let's
Quiet man.
bring on
Gentle.
Brian Daigle. Brian.
Good evening, people. How we doing?
Evening, Brian. Oh,
How we doing,
all right.
Brian?
Look, not great, but a bit happy now. West Ham are losing, but scant consolation from what we saw earlier today with our team. And let's be honest, it was quite a disappointing result, especially the first 20 minutes. The performance was absolutely shambles. As taking the game as a whole, did you think we played terribly? Did you think we played badly, or was it just literally the first 20 minutes cost us the game?
So let's just have a bit of humour, because apparently I only come on to moan. So I'm delighted with the performance. I think we all played absolutely brilliant football. I think the players 1 to 11, all 10 out of 10. It was a great performance, just unlucky. Yeah. Well. So now let's be serious. It was shocking, absolutely shocking, and I've been saying it for the last couple of days. You know what? Conte may want to play this 3-4-3, and it's his default setting, which is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. He did it with Chelsea when the Phil thumped them. But the thing is, when he had the Phil thump them, he had 10 players that could play that formation, and Victor Moses turned out to be a trump card. This team do not have the players or the football intelligence to play this formation. And I was saying to Ben when I went and sat with Ben in the second half in the South Stand, I don't think they've got the intelligence to play any formation at the moment. And if we get one, listen, we have the football intelligence to give James Ward-Prowse the freedom of White Hart Lane in that game, and then we had the football intelligence of Wolves coming, who are a team that don't score, to absolutely batter us in the first half. Batter us. It was shocking. It was shocking.
They scored 10% of this season's goals in that game. Wolves did.
10%.
10% of their goals of this season, apparently, came in that game.
They scored 19 goals before today, and they scored 2.
There you go. I mean, surround sound today.
Yeah, it was. Look, and I agree with you. I agree with you there. Did you think we improved though once we did make a change after half an hour? We ran Kulu on, got another attacking player on there. Did we improve a bit, or did you still think we didn't show enough?
Do you know what? Again, the second half, we tried. It was definitely an improvement on the first half. Not that was anything to write home about. But it goes to show again, and we'll go back to the transfer window. And I'm not saying that I'm not going into things, and obviously whatever. But Conte's style for this 3-4-3, I kept saying we need a creative midfielder, and people were right saying a creative midfielder isn't really what Conte uses. He gets his creativity from the wing backs. And Sessegnon, I thought, was unfortunate to come off, but he has to pick someone to come off. And down that shows how bad we are within strength and depth. We're 2-0 down, and we bring Matt Doherty off to replace him with Emerson. That's how bad our substitutions have become, or the choices we have. There's no creativity. There's nothing. There's nothing to. Harry Kane tried, and he was went on a few.
Did you not create enough chances today, Brian? We did create a bit, didn't we, or not?
No.
Do you know what? It's kind of we huffed and we puffed and we tried to blow the house down. And it was from long range shot like that. It was Winks that hit the post, wasn't it? Or
Winks hit the post.
It fell to him, and he hit it sweetly, and it was unlucky. But the chances we're creating are just nothing. And a lot of them, Harry Kane's creating the passing the ball in for the creativity, where we need him in the centre to finish it off.
Brian, do you not feel that? I mean. So what my interpretation of the match was, particularly until the first goal at least, that we came out and we actually tried to take the game to Wolves. It's just those errors that we keep making are individual technical errors, which the player has got nothing to do with how the team is playing. It's just individuals that are making errors from the back, which led to both of their goals. And those 2 goals completely knocked us for 6. We found it really difficult to get back into the game.
So it's individual mistakes that keep happening. Same players keep happening. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Daniel Levy had absolutely nothing to do with the performances on the pitch. Absolutely nothing. He has everything to do with why they're on the fucking pitch. That's the big difference. Daniel Levy, and this is me saying it, cannot be held responsible for performances. He can't. The very fact they're allowed to get on the pitch and put in performances like that, he has everything to do with. And it keeps happening. I mean, Kulusevski came on and looked bright, but I didn't realise, because it's the first time I've seen him live, he has not got any speed with him whatsoever. He is that's a key thing that he's missing, but he'll make up for it with other attributes. But you can see even he was trying to do things, and players aren't on his wavelength.
You're right. Technically, he is above the level, but he played in the pockets. I felt some of our best attacking moves came from his foot.
Yep, you're right there. But like I said, we've got players at the moment. You got players like Romero, Bentancur, Kulusevski, possibly to put in that bracket, but showing indication of it. Kane. And I'm all Son there as well, that are on the wavelength of champions, on the wavelength of brilliance. The rest around them are just a million miles away. Again, we show how much we miss Ollie Skip when he's not in the pitch or not on the pitch. And there's just fundamental. They are not on the same level, those players I just mentioned. But I have to say, again, Son was horrific. Horrific. Son. And Son gets away. Listen, Son deserves a lot of credit, because he's absolutely brilliant. He is amazing. We love him. He tries, but right now, he's not on form. He is not on form. And like we did with dropping Højbjerg today, we just can't drop him. We cannot drop him.
He's just had a month out.
Yes, but this is the thing, mate. I've said it before. Kane and Son are overplayed and undervalued. And I keep saying, when I say undervalued, I don't mean by financially. I mean just playing them every single game, and you can't drop them. And it's the mess we're in. It is the mess we're in. But it's another defeat. Well, what is it? We're 8th now?
We're 8th, yeah.
8th now.
And people were talking Champions League, and I was saying all along it ain't happening.
Well, it's still very tight, you know. A couple of wins, you're up there. A couple of defeats, you're down there. It's how it is. But you're right. When you're losing if you're losing 2 home games in a row, and you say we've got Man City next, so it doesn't look very healthy situation, does it?
It's not. Do you know what? I can't see where a performance is coming from. Hopefully Middlesbrough in the Cup. Because I really want that FA Cup. But the Premier League, I mean, we got peppered by Southampton, and then we came playing Wolves, and we're like, they're great in defence but can't score, and we're great in attack but can't defend. Well, look how that one worked out.
Yeah.
Listen, it's hard to argue when you've had 2 back-to-back defeats regarding the top 4. I just feel, and maybe maybe I'm completely wrong, and maybe I'm going against the grain. It's far too early for us to throw in the towel in that merit. I know in current form it doesn't. How you thinking? How the hell are we going to make top 4 right now? And I would understand that argument, but I just feel right now it's too early to concede. I know that we've got a real tough month ahead, and regardless of what happens in those 4 games, I think that we're playing a big chunk of our season right there in those games. So maybe you're right. Maybe the FA Cup is the way forward to go in regards silverware. So we'll have to persist with that route as well.
It's got to be, Iggy. Like I said, and like a lot of I don't know what the fans in the chat are saying. For me, it's fundamental we win a trophy and show that we can finally get over the line and get that trophy. So they're lifting a cup up above their arms. And they can go, do you know what? We can do this. We can get this over the line. We can win things. And then hopefully it'll start snowballing with that kind of belief and mentality that, do you know what? If we put our minds together, we can do it. We can do it. The top 4 is just slipping further and further away, in my opinion.
It's just tough. But everything around us, they're dropping points as well, which is what makes this. It's incredible. It's one of the worst top 4s or 4th spot chase ever, because everyone just says, we don't want it. We don't want it. You can have it. You don't want it. We don't want it either. So, but everyone in the chat, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of sell Son. I can't understand where this has all come from.
That's going too far. Listen, when I talk about Son, listen, people will know.
I know you don't believe that. I know that, Brian. I know you're a massive Son fan. I know that.
But that's the thing. No, it's not even when it comes to just Son. There's players that are putting shifts, and do you know what? Heung-min Son has so much cash in the bank with us fans, and rightly so. He is a world-class, incredible athlete.
Yeah,
and not just that. His love for the club, his passion, his commitment, his desire, his personality. He's everything that Spurs should represent. But what I'm saying is, we are playing him so much that he doesn't get. Yes, he's come back from an injury, but already we're forcing him to play every single
he's at
minute
the
of every
deep end,
single game because there's no one there to help him out or say, do you know what, come out or we'll bring you off after 65 minutes. You can get a rest because we need him just on the hope
they create
that
something.
he will have that spark. Like in the Southampton game, a shit son could still get you a goal, but he needs to be taken out. Or at least given a rest and taken off the bench, or brought on to rejuvenate. He needs a rest. We can't
Was he
keep
not the
over.
one trying the hardest in our front line today to make something happen?
I think Harry was, in all honesty. I mean, obviously you got a different outlook on it, but from what I saw, especially in the first half, it looked more to me like Harry Kane was trying to do everything. And literally, we were all singing at one point, "Number one is Harry Kane."
Surely, but surely if one of the front liners
Harry
having to be dropped, it has to be Lucas before Son, doesn't it? I didn't think
Yeah,
Lucas
I mean,
played well at all today.
Lucas, and everyone knows I'm a big fan of Lucas, but I think Bergwijn's got to start, or people have said Kulusevski, that could be his position. It's because, again, we're just playing players so much, Sim.
Yeah.
We keep doing the stars or the big performers. Yes, okay, you need to play them because they're the big performers, but you also need to rest them to stop them being drained.
No one else.
This is what I talk about, Brian. Like in other teams, in teams who are serious, they don't have these problems. They don't have these conversations about players playing too much because they don't. It's not a big issue when they're rested. It's not a big issue when they're not when they're out for one game or another. You know, if City don't play Bernardo Silva one game, there's not 100 articles on it because it doesn't really matter because they got other players to come in. But with Spurs, if Son was to be dropped for a game or Højbjerg's rested like he's there, everyone's like, oh, where's Højbjerg? Where's Son? Where's this one? It's because we rely on them so much, and that's just the issue with the squad depth, isn't it?
Completely. It is. It's what we were saying the whole time, isn't it? It's very good. Like we spoke on transfer deadline day, Tim. When I was in the training ground with Ryan, who I'm with, and Rez, with Brad Matthews as well. We're just about to go out for a curry. So that's what it was. We got 4 out. We had 2 come in, and yes, it was 2 that could potentially, but the depth is just so bare. It's so minimum or minimalist, whatever you want to say. The words like I can't think of right now. It's just there is no strength in depth.
It's just complete lack of options in those areas, and those players are so good that even though they're spent and they're burnt out, we carry on playing them because we just simply don't have the replacements for them.
Exactly, and this is what I've been saying all along.
Worse when you're playing 3 games, people saying we've got so many games out now.
It's ridiculous. I mean, you look at the games in hand. Brighton away. Let's be serious, and Simeon, you'll know when you've gone. We don't have the best of records at Brighton away. It's not exactly the best place. Burnley away. We don't even have the greatest of record. That's another one. And then obviously you got the filth at home.
We've got to try and.
Well, forget games out. We have to bloody win the other games. We've got City.
Exactly.
We probably have to. We really need to go to City next week and get something. And we all know we're not. So that's 4 defeats in a row, and all of a sudden,
that could be a good thing. Sin, no expectations away to City.
I know, but all of a sudden, if that's 4 defeats in a row, that we could be 7 points with 2 games in hand. All of a sudden, the games in hand don't even mean anything.
Exactly. Well, this is the thing. This is what. Do you remember, Simeon, when I came on when you did that top 4 one, and I was saying the points on the board to me are much more important than the games in hand. Now, these were every single time we have the opportunity to gain some momentum or to push on or show our credentials and say, yeah, do you know what? We're here. We're here to make, not just to make up the numbers. We're pushing. We choke every time. And like we do in semi-finals, like we do in finals, it just keeps repeating itself.
Yeah, and it's difficult to disagree with that, Brian. And it's very difficult at the moment to see where we go from on the back of 3 defeats, 2 defeats at home, and now we have a run of 4 away games, regardless of who they're against. 4 away games is always difficult, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
of course.
Could we, if things don't improve very quickly, is it very possible we could be giving ourselves too much to do, for the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, listen, for me, I'm really worried when it comes to top 4. When you look at FA Cup, you think it's just a one-off game, only a few more, you could potentially be at Wembley. The top 4, I said at the beginning of the season, just to get Europa League and improve on last season, then make the push. I mean, we've got to buck our ideas up and quickly. I mean, Conte sent the players out very early to stand outside before. I think he showed a bit of a gave it a right rollicking and chucked them out early. He has got to read the riot act. He's got to read the riot act. What I want to see as well is you saw the Man U players coming out on social media yesterday going, this ain't good enough. We have to buck our ideas up. We have to be stronger. We have to. Let's hope we see some of that from our players. They're saying, listen, we know we're doing wrong. We're going to sort this. There's just nothing comes out of this club.
We've heard that for 5 years.
Yeah. All right, Brian. Good to speak to you as always, mate.
Always a
hopefully,
pleasure.
next
one,
time on a victory, but nice to see you. Good luck. Enjoy your curry. I'll hopefully be better
I'm
in the
so
game.
jealous. That curry sounds
Will
good
do.
right now.
Well, if you two want to come and join us afterwards, Iggy, you know where we're going to be.
I know where you're going to be.
Then
All
pop
right.
down, brother. There's Stel and Sean and a few others joining us. So if you
How
fancy coming
far
down,
from the studio is it?
not far at all.
man.
It's
I'll
Mike
tell
on
you where it
Foster's.
is.
Okay, I might consider that. I'll see what time we finish.
Cool. Come and join us then. Come and join the Curry Club, Sid and Iggy.
Curry Club right now is where it's at.
Come and join it. But what I will say is, first of all, oh wait a minute, Simeon, you didn't know, so let me just give everyone a little Bob Spur update. So obviously, where was I? So what I can tell is at one point they thought we had COVID again.
Oh, so he doesn't?
By the looks of it, by what I'm about to say, he doesn't, because I had a
that's
message from
fantastic news.
I had a message from Kim today. I mean, the last few days. Okay, so people know he had a major setback. I'm not going into the details of that major setback. There may be some more details about it coming out. We just need some more assurances. But his oxygen and dependency on the ventilator when he was in the medically induced coma was up to 75% again. So it was a worrying point again. But today he's awake. He's still in and he has been awake for a few days. But he's got the ventilator. He's got not the invasive coma, but he's still on a ventilator. The oxygen levels are down to 30%. So he is fighting Mr. Superman, and he is doing what he needs to do.
Keep going, Bob.
And at the moment, that's the last update I had. So at the moment, he's still with us, as in awake, not in the medically induced coma. He is at 30% on the oxygen, and
Well, he
that's
watched
all
the
we
game
really
today.
have
I
at the
know
moment.
that. Well, I think so anyway. Because he was.
Oh, Jesus Christ, poor Bob. That guy can't catch a fucking break.
He was sending me messages on his opinions about all the game today.
Okay, so that's all good. At least he's up and about, which is all good, which is always a good sign when he's doing that. So I will leave with get well, Bob. You two come and join us for the Curry Club. And I can only do it with one hand because I'm holding that phone with the other. And as always, Levy out.
Nice one, Brian. Good to see you.
Nice one, Brian. Keep going, Bob. Keep punching.
Yeah, 100%,
we love you, man.
Missing Bob so much. I'm glad that he's awake and he's, watching the game and he's giving his opinions. We can't wait to get him back on the show.
Absolutely.
Let's move on, and we've got Cody back in the background. Let's get Cody on. How are we doing, Cody?
Hey, Cody.
I know.
We feel you, brother. We feel you.
I know. It was just one of those days, wasn't it?
Fuck!
I felt more angry after the game on Wednesday than I did today. Because in the game on Wednesday, I was like, we were winning with 20 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go. We end up losing, and in such a important game in midweek. But today, I wasn't even that surprised today. I mean, because Wolves are a good team, and if you give them that advantage that we did give them, you only got yourselves to blame, don't you?
Honestly, if you go back to the 78th minute of the Southampton game, that 30 minutes of football from when Southampton scored the second of 3 goals to when Wolves scored their second tonight, that has to be one of the most comical half hours of defensive football that I've seen. Maybe ever personally. I wasn't watching football in the 90s, so I can't really speak to what it was like watching Stuart Nethercott and the like back there.
Great name drop.
Jesus Christ, how that second goal, I watched it again and it's like, how has Lloris hit that pass so badly? Compounded by Ben Davies making like a that's just basics. That's football basics. That's basics in
Elementary
any
stuff.
kind of sport. You don't go up the middle to escape trouble. You don't. He puts it right on a plate for the Wolves player. It's just it
You
was
go down the
comical.
line. Always go down the line.
Always, even out of play is better than that. You know, like give yourself a chance to reset, get everybody. It was just
It was
this
terrible.
team. Can you imagine if this team snuck into the Champions League? Would you want to watch this team against Real Madrid? Would you want to watch this team against Bayern Munich? Like, Jesus.
Do you think it's a lack of lead? Do you think there's a lack of leadership maybe at the moment at the back without Dyer, or do you just think that it's just quality wise? Like these players were performing well for a time under Conte at the back, and now maybe they're just showing their true colours.
I just think there's a lack of quality. There's a huge lack of quality, and the thing is too, Southampton have laid out a blueprint for everybody else to just waltz all over us because Conte wants to play out from the back. We look worse than Arsenal did last season before they went and dropped 150 million pounds and got Ramsdale and other players that can help them play out from the back. We look worse than they did, and they were giving up comedic goals, and we look worse than they did. Yeah. You know, we just can't handle the pressure. We can't handle the pressure at all. And on top of that, like, when was the last time we won a must-win game?
Yeah, when the pressure's on, you're right. When the pressure's on, it seems to
probably the 80s.
The whole fucking squad is made of chocolate. Honestly, yeah. It's just
Cody. What I wanted to ask you, and I'm interested to hear from you regarding this. I felt, I mean, and I said this whilst we were watching the game. I felt that we started the game really well, and it's against the run of play. We went a goal down, but again, it's like you said, it's those comical individual errors that are costing us at this level. Like you just said, you know, Lloris is a straight pass to Davis wasn't quite straight. Then Davis panics and hits it when he does. And obviously, with everybody picking up positions in possession, all of a sudden we're non-possession, and you know it's a free fall. But I felt up until that point we started the game really well. It's just a shame that we were completely sucker punched ourselves because we created our own mess. That's what I felt. We created our own mess. They go 2-0 up, and all of a sudden we're like, wow, how did this happen? And it's like now we're having to chase the game. Conte makes the change early on. I thought it was the wrong change, as in not necessarily wrong for bringing Kulusevski on. I felt that Davis and not Sessegnon should have been the one brought off. And I said this while the game was going on because I felt with Davis going left back, we would nullify ourselves going forward on the left-hand side, which is what we currently did. How did you feel about that part of it before, obviously, we know what happened in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty harsh on Sessegnon. Really tough watching him have to walk all the way around the pitch. He was applauded
by the fans and spoken to by Conte, so it's not.
But you know, they showed like what do you? This guy's had a real tough time here, you know, with trying to build confidence and gain minutes and get experience, and you know, he gets a chance to get in there ahead of Reguilon, and you know, gets hauled off because Conte, you know, when you're making a change after 25 minutes, I'm sorry, that's damning of your game plan, isn't it? You know, like I know things change and we were down 2-0 and we had to make a change and everything like that, but yeah, it's just really frustrating to watch. You know, there's just this like a black hole in the middle of the pitch for us. We just don't have the midfield to play the way that Conte wants to play. Winks today, I mean, geez. Winks today. Like the only thing that I can like justify why Conte hasn't gone to the 3-5-2 like Will was saying is that we only have 3 healthy senior midfielders at this point, you know? Yeah. But I would expect some changes going forward because this just isn't working. We're just overrun. This has been a problem long before Conte showed up, the problems that we've had in midfield. And you know, I know Celso and Ndombele weren't playing at their best. I'm not arguing that they should have stayed here, but if we were gonna empty certain aspects of that midfield and send those players out on loan. We should have been more aggressive in the January transfer market, and we should have brought
Agreed.
in other bodies, because it's
Agreed.
just the
Totally.
fact that Harvey White right now is our fourth midfielder. That
Yep.
this is like it's like a domino effect, because now Harvey White's not playing football, right? He's just there as an emergency. He was set to go out on loan, and you're seeing players like Dylan Marcande leaving the club because there's no path to the first team. Well, this isn't the right path for Harvey White to get to the first team either. This kid should have been out on loan. We should have been bringing in a Premier League quality midfielder to help right the ship, because otherwise, what are we even doing here? Like, I'm looking back on this January window, and I'm thinking, like, they've just punted this season. You know, we don't have the players at several positions to play Conte ball. We don't even have a squad fit to play football of almost any kind. You can set this team up however you want. The squad is in such dire shape and is in such bad form right now. We can make anybody look good. You know, losing at home back to back 96 hours apart to Southampton and Wolves, it's going to be a rough ride here.
Were you encouraged at all
ride.
by, when we brought on Kulu on half an hour, we did start to get a bit more control, maybe start to open them up a bit, even though we weren't clinical enough and we didn't make the most of the openings you were making. But was there anything that encouraged you about that period?
Well, let's face it, Wolves, they're not the kind of team who are going to keep coming at you with a 2-0 lead. They're going to sit back, they're going to protect, they're going to make sure that they don't concede, and that's what they did. So was it the change that he made? Was it Kulusevski coming on, or was it, Wolves' tactic to just be compact and not give up anything too blatant? I don't know. It's a hard game to digest. I liken it to one of the World Cup qualifiers recently, where Canada beat the United States. They got out to an early lead. No, seriously, it was very similar. If you look at the statistics on possession and everything like that, Canada got their lead, and then they sat back and they defended stoutly, and then they took their chance when they got it. And Wolves did the same thing today. It's just what can you do? Like, when Kane and Son aren't clicking, and let's face it, they haven't clicked. They've had runs individually where they've clicked at times during this season, Son more than Kane from a goal scoring perspective. But as a unit, as a two-man unit, they have not clicked at all once this year. And there was several examples today where, one player had the opportunity to send the other in, and they're just not working together the same way that we've come accustomed to, and it's hurting both of them. So
yeah. Cody, real quick, where's your stamp? I mean, we've got a big month ahead. It's undeniable. It's a big month. 4 away games if you include the cup game. Top 4. Where are you with it? What's your take on it?
I don't. Things would have to literally do a complete 180 from where they are right now. Like, we would have to go to the Etihad and win for me to think that we have a chance at top 4, because other teams around us are picking up points. The thing is, like, that 4th spot right now, like, you can pretty much lock in Chelsea, City, Liverpool. They're going to be in the Champions League next year. That 4th spot, I mean, one thing you could say is that nobody's grabbing it with 2 hands at this point.
No, absolutely.
And things can change very quickly in the league table. There's still a lot of games left to play, but I'm not seeing it, man. I'm not seeing how, unless Skip and Dyer come back immediately and all of our key players remain healthy and Conte figures out a tactical change that's going to make us more difficult to play against and put us in a position where we can more effectively break the press. Like, we might be the least press resistant team in the Premier League. I don't care what team set up. If I'm in the Premier League and I'm managing a football club, I'm pressing Tottenham right now because we can't handle it. We simply cannot handle it. So you have to hope that changes when Dyer comes back, because he has been good on the ball this year, playing in the center of that 3. I think he's probably going to slot into that middle spot when he comes back. And thank God, like, as soon as I started praising a player like Davinson Sanchez for improving under Conte.
We said that, didn't we? We said this earlier.
Yeah.
He just
Soon as
it's like
Sanchez, Conte was praising him as well. And then he puts
Conte
these
was
two
picking him up
performances.
not long ago, and he's followed that with two outrageous
Disaster
performances.
classes.
Yeah, disaster completely. But the thing is, like you said, Manchester United are dropping points. It looks like with only a few minutes left, Leicester are beating West Ham. Everyone around us are dropping points, and we just cannot seem to capitalise. Or you look at it differently, we've lost points, but the damage around has not been too badly because apart from Arsenal beating Wolves, there's not really much else going on results-wise.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll say though, I'm pretty sure we've got more road matches left than home matches.
Yeah.
It was really important for us to turn the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium into a bit of a fortress that was difficult to come. Like 0 points from Southampton and Wolves at home, and we've still got to go to Old Trafford. We've still got to go to Anfield. We've still got to go to the Etihad.
Do you think as well, being away from home, I was, like I said earlier, I was at the Southampton game, and within 10, 15 minutes, as soon as somebody like Winksy or anyone else makes a straightforward pass wrong, the fans straight away, you can feel the anxiety in the stadium. Do you think, and not that I blame the Spurs fans by all stretch of imagination, but do you think maybe perhaps playing away from home for a few games may help regarding the pressure a little bit?
Well, not when you're going to the Etihad, really.
No, not necessarily the Manchester City, but the games also that follow. Listen, I understand, the Man City game's going to be tough. It would have been tough even if we're beating both Southampton and Wolves. But the games that follow after that.
The thing is, Iggy, we've put ourselves in a position now where we have to start winning some of these difficult road games, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to go away and consider it a free hit against a team that, is well above us in terms of class and quality.
Yeah.
But you have to take care of business against the teams that you're supposed to beat. And that was one thing that Conte had turned around since he got here, right? We may have been if you're looking at, if we didn't have miracle late goals against Leicester and Watford, this could be looking a lot worse right now than it is already. And it's just when you can't take care of business against the teams that you're supposed to beat, you put so much pressure on yourself.
I couldn't agree more.
All the argument, we got games in hand. Well, these are the games in hand that we're pissing away now, So
You're right.
It's just it's not great. I just fucking suck supporting this club.
Oh, West Ham have just scored in the 90th minute.
Really?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
2-2.
There we go, Cody.
In
Just in
injury
case.
time.
Stoppage time equaliser for West Ham.
VAR offside,
West
right?
Ham 2. Well, you never won. Those only things happen to Tottenham. I wouldn't put it past us, but there you go. West Ham have scored. Look, Cody, great to talk to you as always, man. Great to see you. And let's hope. I wouldn't be much hope for City game, but maybe after that, let's hope we can turn it around.
I think everyone needs to just calm the fuck down on the Conte. Will was saying.
I agree.
Or has he scored his hand, actually?
Oh, it could go to VAR, Cody. Good call, my friend.
I think he might have scored with his hand.
Yeah, we
I think he has scored with his arm,
Has he gone with his arm there?
I think he scored with his arm.
It is. Well, listen. It's there.
We'll see.
There. They're
Anyway.
looking and looking. Well, we shall see. But
I don't.
I agree with the Conte thing. Is getting completely out of hand.
Listen, the way that I look at it right now, I think it's best to just you can't be judging Conte until he starts to get at least a shred of some of the players that he needs, right? They say there's an old saying that you're only as strong as your weakest link. But when you look at our squad and some of the positions of need, you could take out the weakest link and there's just another equally weak link sitting there waiting to submarine us. So it's all for Conte to do the rest of this season, but I'm not expecting much, to be honest. I just hope that because we've seen the environment from within the dressing room become toxic before, like it did with Jose, right? So if Conte's going in there and giving these guys the hairdryer treatment and then doing double training sessions, like if these players think that they're going to throw this guy under the bus. The fans need to put a stop to it because Conte is our only chance. He is, seriously. If we can't win something with Conte,
It's
okay,
over. It's over for this club.
we're completely fucked. We're completely fucked. So trust Conte, be patient with Conte, and just be honest with yourself about the state of the squad. That's all I ask.
All right.
Listen,
I think that's good words there, Cody.
Agreed.
And I absolutely agree with that. The goal has stood, so it is 2-2. But all right, Cody, good to see you. I'll speak to you in a bit.
Glory, glory.
Glory, glory. Oh, man. Lovely seeing you, Cody. See you in a
good
bit.
to see you guys.
See you later, buddy.
I remember the first time he ever came on, he was like, glory, glory. It's like every week, it's like,
listen, he's a wise man. You know, he's at the end, his last bit there about Conte. I mean, I couldn't agree more. You know, it's wise words again. I'll repeat it again. Wise words from Conte.
All right. I think that was the end of the show then. That's the last caller. I want to thank everyone for calling in and what was a very disappointing game at the end of the day. I want to thank all the people commenting. Iggy, it's been a pleasure. 1 sec. Leicester have a chance here maybe in the last minute. No, it's over the bar. It looks like it's going to finish 2-2 at the King Power. So at least West Ham's still dropping some points, but they did get a draw, which is not the worst result. But Iggy, thanks for being for the watch along and for the fan show and being part of it. I hope you had a good time.
Yep. Apart from the result, it was great being here and working here, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, a win would have been a whole lot better, but it is what it is. We move on.
If you want to see more of Iggy, you see him with Stell on Tottenham Away. Go and subscribe to Tottenham Away on YouTube. So they do some great content on there. Stell's actually going to be back in the studio, I believe, on Tuesday to do some tactics. I'm going to dissect why Tottenham are so bad at defending. So looking forward to that.
He will have a lot to say.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for everyone calling in and everyone commenting and for all your general support and all the super chats and everything. Thank you, everyone, again for joining us. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.